come along with me and make some date scones. And now this is my first time making date scones. Usually I make the cheese and onion ones, or maybe I put some spinach in with them, which I think the way that I do it is an entirely different process to the way that I made these ones. I did follow a recipe online, which I will link below if you're interested in following it, but I kind of just followed it as best as I could with what I had. I obviously didn't have real milk, so I did use the almond milk that we have, but honestly I don't know if that makes any difference to the way it tastes, so that's fine. I also didn't really know what the consistency should look like for these ones because I've obviously never made the date ones before, and this was also a different process to how it kind of started with my other ones, so I kind of was in a new realm, but it was fine. I realised I didn't show you with a container of what I was putting in, but I put sugar in, and it's just in a Tupperware container anyway, so you wouldn't have probably known. But that's my butter, and I kind of just put it in there as is because I couldn't be bothered melting it, so I just put it in there and I hoped for the best. These are the dates that I got. I'm not kind of sure what dates you're supposed to get. I just grabbed something that said dates and I went with it. And thank the Lord these didn't have pips in them. They were easy. I just cut them up and put them in the cup just to measure out how many I did, just so you could see. But it kind of equivalated to like a cup almost, just under a cup, and I put them in like that. But to be honest, when I was making this, I thought, do I cut them or do I just keep them whole? Because obviously I've never made date scones before. I don't really know what they look like, to be honest. And I was like, do people cut them or do they not? But then in the recipe it said to cut them, so I was like, okay, I think I need to cut them. So I did cut them up into little squares or little pieces, but I didn't know if that was too little, but apparently that's perfect. And you'll also see that I put the milk in the cup and then I gradually put it in, just because I didn't quite know the measurement for that, just because it was in different like measurement language, and I was like, I'm not sure if that's like a cup of milk or like, because it was in like milliliters, I don't know how much a cup of that was. Anyway, I just gradually put it in until it looked like a perfect consistency of how I think it should have looked, and this is how it turned out. I think it turned out pretty good. I also am new to this kneading part of the process for scones. I've never done that before, but it is what it is. But I think it's kind of fun. It reminds me of making bread. Not that I've ever made bread, but it's kind of a similar process, and it's kind of like a similar thing in the end. Like a little scone is kind of like a little bit of bread. But I put them out on the tray to put in the oven and cooked for, couldn't tell you how long, but I cooked it until they looked brown, and I took them out once they were a little browned and they looked like they were done. I cut one open just to make sure that it was cooked inside, but they looked pretty good anyway. But you've always got to make sure, because you don't want to undercook it and then like bite into it and it'd be like yuck. But these are how they turned out. I think they turned out pretty good. I couldn't tell you how they taste, but my partner says they're really good, and I think that's a success. Thanks for watching.